Okay, so we'll just have to wait a second, make sure that we're live. You know how it goes, the
Oh,
drill.
yes.
Yes. So, Jimmy, so what have you been doing since the last time I saw you, which was what, 2 weeks
See,
ago?
I came to Alaska. See in the background. That's it, man. Um,
That's that's beautiful, you know. I'm just telling.
yeah.
Okay, so it says that we are live.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
So I have to
it's
watch my language now, right?
yes,
And everything I say has to
always.
be truthful. I can't tell lies anymore, right?
It's true. It's totally
Oh well.
true. Okay,
Okay.
so let me get this posted in the group. They're wondering where the heck you are.
No, no, no. Where we are. Don't put this on me.
Okay. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, so tell me, Jimmy Lamb. Okay, let's see here. Hey Pat. Um, okay, so y'all say hello. Hello, hello,
Y'all. You're in New
hello.
Jersey and you said y'all. Gotta love that.
I know, right?
Yeah. So I'm presuming they can hear us
Yeah, yeah, because
and
if
they
they
can see
couldn't, they
us.
would say,
That's scary.
yeah, they would say, like, hey, okay, you guys, we need some hellos over here.
Hello. Or hello, hello,
Yeah.
hello. Now I'm aging us.
I know, it's true. Okay, so Jimmy Lamb, talk to me. First off, how exciting is guess what I'm doing tomorrow?
What?
I am unveiling.
Unveiling.
Unveiling. I am unboxing my
Unboxing.
new my
New.
new
New.
SG 1000.
Oh, good. At least you got the big one.
I know why I have the SG 400 and I just kicked myself because I had the 800 and I sold
Right.
it. And I kick myself all the time because it's like, oh,
Can I
I
kick you
could
too
be
next time
doing
I see
that
you?
pillow. No, no,
Okay.
no, 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 no. Okay,
No.
hey, Gene, golly, man, it seems like forever since I've seen you. Cotton Candy Connie says, hi, Cheryl and Jimmy from Orlando.
Orlando.
Angela, we can hear you loud and clear. Thankfully, that's the one I just bought. Oh, Pat, you got it. Good for you. Okay.
So
Alice,
I hear Mickey's coming out of hibernation down in Orlando July 11th.
really?
Yep, that's what I've been
July
hearing.
11th?
July 11th.
Really?
Maybe that's changed, but it said a limited opening of Disney World July 11th.
Wow,
So
that's interesting.
yeah,
I thought
Mickey's
you
got
were
to get back to
talking
work.
about I thought you were talking about Mickey from Condi.
No, 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 not that Mickey. He'll never reopen. Anyway, it's I gotta love Mickey. So
And Martha says, "Hey, hey, Jimmy Lamb." Martha
hey,
Miller.
hey,
And Alice. Okay, so we're gonna do a Q&A with Jimmy, but
finally,
I do
we
want
were
to
30
talk.
minutes late.
I know. I do want to talk
I'm always
about.
late when I'm with Cheryl.
I know. I mean, if we were ever on time, I think people would be late because they would expect that we were late.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. And we'd be done, and they would be, where are you? You're right.
Right, exactly.
Crazy.
Okay, yeah, I wish he wouldn't. I'm gonna have to make more masks, Cheryl. Yeah, well, Mickey has to come out of hibernation at some point or another. He does. And there's Jimmy's. I have mine, but it's not right here. And look at my pretty gloves. Look at my pretty heat gloves. Aren't they
That's nice, Cheryl.
beautiful?
That's
I
nice.
gotta. I'm telling you, like, woo woo. I'm I'm in love with this, Jimmy. I'm just telling you,
I
this is
know.
like
You said it's simply irresistible.
it's simply
Brings back memories of a
irresistible.
song.
I know, right? It's
Right.
like, ah, I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, and the reason, as I told you earlier, the reason is because it's going to bridge. That is, he told me that's Coke and whiskey or something like that.
No, I didn't say that. I was joking. It's Diet Coke. Okay. Look, see, Diet Coke. Well, oh, that's weird on the screen. Anyway,
I know,
Diet Coke.
right?
Yeah.
Right, right. No, I was kidding, y'all. He doesn't drink on the job.
No, not on the job.
He drinks after the job.
Don't start that. Maybe I have a sip or two of something healthy.
Something healthy? What's
Red wine.
healthy?
Red wine's healthy.
Nice. Yeah, it's
good for your heart.
Good. Yeah.
So I drink 3 bottles a day because they say it's good for your heart. So. I'm one of those guys. If 2 painkillers helps, then 10 must be what you really need, right?
Right.
No,
wrong.
No,
wrong.
Don't do this at home. We're professionals. Don't try this at home.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So let's talk about Creative Studio for a minute because, Connie says it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Always. Hey, look, see, I even have a drink hugger that says it's 5 o'clock somewhere from Margaritaville in Orlando.
Oh, I love it. Did you make that?
No, I didn't. But anyway,
you could have. But you could have.
It could have. I think it was wide format sublimation anyway, because there's a whole pattern in the whole thing. So whatever.
Oh, okay. Okay, so let's talk about Creative Studio for a minute because I know people have been frustrated. But I got to tell you, I feel truly that, Sawgrass really, there was an apology on your Facebook wall and on Sawgrass's wall with, really, I believe, a heartfelt apology from Vic, feeling kind of the whole, kick in the stomach from a lot of complaints. And, honestly, I think you guys have done a phenomenal job. I mean, it's like, you guys tried to, honestly, I don't know that I would have done as many changes all at one time as you guys did, but man, you guys are really taking the bull by the horns and doing something. So I have to applaud you guys because it cannot be easy. It just can't be. So anyway, if you want to talk a little bit about that, I think people would love to hear.
Well, it's true. We put a lot of energy into the development, and the development is, when you're actually writing code and doing all that stuff, it gets really crazy, right? And so along the way, features were coming along, but they weren't always being necessarily fully vetted out as they should have been. And the reality starts becoming that our users are finding it before we do. And that's never what you want to happen. You want to find it before a user does. That way we can fix it. And that didn't happen. So our users brought our attention. And, and to Vic's credit, Vic went on Facebook Live, did a Facebook Live, and he listened to people. And there were a lot of people very unhappy. I'll leave it that way. And he took note of every single thing that every person said. He took and recorded every single comment. And then he took those comments, and I know he contacted a whole lot of those people individually to discuss it. And then he took it back to the product development team and said, you know what? Everybody needs to stop what you're doing, and we need to address these things. And so they have put together a priority of the features that aren't working the way that we want them to. And we do have dates assigned. This is not some big mystery. In fact, I'm going to share some of that information with Cheryl when I send her a document. I can't just quote them off the top of my head. But we do have dates here in the month of June leading up to the beginning of July. It says, this is the due date on this is the due date on that, and this is the feedback that we got. The sad thing is that you had to give it to us, but the good thing is you gave it to us, right? So, yes, we are working on that.
Right.
There are some additional features that are needed in this particular new version, Creative Studio 4, and some of them are still in development. So some people are saying, hey, I want to be able to do this. I'm going to tell you right back, one of the ones is undo key. We don't have an undo key. So that's a big complaint. Undo key is being worked on, and believe it or not, the developer says one of the hardest things in the world to do. Don't know why, but you know what? All know we need.
Honestly, it doesn't make any sense since you guys initially had it. It's like, why would somebody leave that out?
Because it's two totally different platforms that drive the engine that drives it is totally different on this one than the other one. And actually the developers, third-party developers, we have our own software people, but we're also working with a software company, that we're
Right.
kind of working together on it. So these are different people engineering it than what we had in the previous version. So, and it's just one of the things that everybody said that's next week. Well, here it is, a couple of months later, and but it's in there. There's a lot of priority to get it. Now, one of the things that I think is important too, and I understand because anybody that knows me knows that I was involved with the original Creative Studio from day one. I mean, I created 86 videos, on how to use this thing, and I know it inside out. And many a time I've been on here and other places where I'd let people challenge me. Well, I don't know how, I wish you could do this. I said, but you can. And I'd show them a way. I found workarounds for everything, right? So I'm going to be honest with you. I was a hard person to convince about the changes too, because a lot of people said, why are you changing? I like what I have. And that's like, I was sort of the same way. But definitely we've gotten some new things in. We're trying to modernize it. We're also trying to have the coding in place so that it integrates with other things better. We've been just recently had to go expression stores that we've released, and it integrates with that, whereas the other one didn't. Okay. So it's more e-commerce oriented in the long run, so that you'll be able to create designs and actually put them places like into an Etsy store. Okay. Right from Creative Studio, and to put them out on social media right from Creative Studio. So things like that, they seem like, well, it's just easy to add, but a lot of times they aren't. So the platform was rewritten that way. But I finally got convinced that this is, because they put in my favorite feature. Do you know what my favorite feature is? Actually, everyone says it's the 3D view of around the coffee mug, right? Because you can take a coffee mug now and you can see it from 360 degrees and rotate it around and see what the final thing looks like. That's cool. That's not my favorite feature. My favorite feature is to remove a white background. Okay, so when you upload a JPEG, and if there's a picture of anything with a JPEG, you got an image, and unless it's full bleed, you got a white square behind it, right?
Yes.
So now you go make let's say you make a coffee mug, right? And you put a blue background, or it's a blue ocean-like background. You put that picture on there. What do you have? You got a picture with a white square on the blue background. And we all hate the white square, right? So how do you get rid of it in the old Creative Studio? You don't. You go back out, you find a program that can take out white backgrounds. You clean the white background out, save as a PNG, reload it. Now it's actually a feature. So if you have an image you upload with that, within reason, you can clean it up. Now, I will say with all simple white background tools, they're looking at the difference in color between, say, where's the edge of the white and the edge of the image. Okay. And if it doesn't pick it out right, it doesn't always trim it as well as you want. Okay. But it does a pretty good job. And, I absolutely love that feature because that saves you so much time. When you're uploading things in. So we put in all these extra new fonts that half of them I never heard of, but I mean, what the heck? I mean, we all know what Times New Roman is, right? And beyond that, it's Arial or Arial, whatever. I've been doing one in demos called Architect's Daughter. What the heck is the Architect's Daughter? It's fun.
I have that font.
I never heard of it. I started playing with it. It's like, oh, what a cool name. But, now we have the ability to do much better arcing. We have all kinds of special effects on the fonts. It's a whole lot closer to, say, a Corel or a Photoshop, though definitely not at that level of, of graphics design. But with all those extra little features, because everybody was saying, oh, I want to be able to, do some really cool stuff with the lettering, but you can't do it in Creative Studio. Right. You know what we would tell people? Create your text in another program, save it as an object, a JPEG or a PNG object, then upload it and put it in. Okay. That's what we tell people. Now we got all those cool things, so there's a lot of neat features in there. And it's going to get better as we go. I mean, we take everybody's input. I mean, if you can get it to us, we're listening and we're putting it into files and people are reviewing it and we're putting it into, things. Now, I will tell you, if one person asks for something, it might not ever happen. If 100 people ask for the same thing, it's probably going to happen, right? And you would be the same way because of the fact of the time and the energy that goes into it. So, but don't be afraid, and we've seen that most of you aren't, to relay to us where you think improvement is needed. And, we will look at it. There are real people looking at this, I promise you. They're probably talking about it right at this very minute.
Yeah. So Connie is asking, so how will we upgrade to the one we already have?
What you have is when you go to the Sawgrass website, okay, the Sawgrass website actually has both Creative Studios on it. So if you go to sawgrassinc.com, you will see Creative Studio and Creative Studio New, okay? If you click on Creative Studio, it's the one you already have, which is Creative Studio 3.0. If you click on the Creative Studio New, okay, it is the newer version. Now, eventually the old version is going to be discontinued, and we've been telling people that for months, and we keep pushing it back because we listened, and people said we're not ready, and we like, well, okay, you're right. So, right now, when you go into
and I think
Studio,
it's going to be in July. It's going to be July.
It's in July right now. I think it's near the end of July. When you actually start Creative Studio, it'll tell you. So let me just start it, and I'll tell you. My luck, it won't because I'm in an admin file, right? But let's see, because admins are supposed to know this, right?
Right.
Sign in. Waiting for. I must be on a slow internet connection today. Happens. It's probably looking so. We don't know who Jimmy Lamb is. We're gonna have to boot him out for whatever reason. Now, keep this thing in mind too. Like I was working on the Go Expression store the other day. I went to do a demo and it didn't work. And people were like, Go Expression's broken. It's like, nah. You know what? The developers are in there working on it. We need them to work on it at 4 a.m., not when everyone's trying to log in. For whatever reason, I can't log into. Let's try this one. I'm so impatient. Oh, that's right. It won't let me sign in my account. So all that did was send me to my account a different way. Basically, when you sign in to either Creative Studio, it will have across the top, there's a banner, and it will tell you when the date is, the transition. So I've proposed some videos and webinars and things to help those who haven't made the transition, because I know how it is. I mean, if you're doing this for income, right? Well, the last thing you want to do is go learn a new software program. You want to be able to just sit down, do what you need to do, because you want to done, print, done, right? You don't want to be like, how do you do this again? And really, I mean, I likened this in a conversation. I said, for really and truly to go from Creative Studio 3 to Creative Studio 4 is like learning a totally new program. It doesn't look anywhere like at all. Okay.
It is true. It's true.
And my comparison was, do you remember the first time you used Microsoft Excel? What did you have when you turned it on? A piece of graph paper. I mean, that's what it looked like, right? What the heck am I going to do with all these little squares, these little blocks? And it's like scary. So it's the same thing here. And boy, it does not want to let me in. I don't know why. Oh, well, I guess I made somebody mad. Let's make sure I'm actually logged into the internet. Yeah, I am. I don't know. Okay. So anyway, we're just going to leave it at that.
Well, okay. So Jimmy, to me, one of the things that you said, and I don't know if you're going to do this, but I think it's a great idea, is to have someone, like you do something in the old version and then have somebody else do it in the new version. I think that's a brilliant idea. And I think, people are visual people. What?
It's my idea.
I know.
Keep going. I was taking credit. Okay, I had to take credit for something, right?
Yeah, right. Okay, so it is a brilliant idea, and I do think that if you do little snippets of arcing and 3D mug, or the things you could do in Creative Studio, the original and then the new, I think people would love that. I mean, totally love that.
Yep.
So
I did propose, and hopefully we're going to do this very shortly. I said, I think it would be very useful if we did what you were describing, where maybe it's me and Megan, and we're on together, and we have a split screen, and we're both going to make the same product. Say it's going to be a mug with a picture of Cheryl. Okay. So
Huh.
we're both going to create it step by step, and I would be in the old version of Creative Studio and she's in the new. The idea is not to say, oh, look at all these great new features. It's to say, this is how you would do it in this one. Okay, to be a true educational, not a promotional type of a video event. So, I mean, I know how to arc letters by blindfolded in Creative Studio 3. Well, how do you do them in Creative Studio 4? So now you just saw me do it where you're used to and you're comfortable, right? And then you say, Megan says, okay, now watch, and I'm going to do it in Creative Studio 4. You know, here you're going to click here, and then this is where you get to do it, and she's going to do the same thing that I just did. And then you're actually, if you're following along with us, you're kind of following all the way through till we finish the product. And then, of course, coming up with some good tutorial videos. Like, you know, I've done quite a few in the old one where it's like how to create something from beginning to end. And I say, okay, here's what we're going to make. We're going to make a T-shirt. Okay, boom, 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 all the things. And while I'm going through, I'm using the tools, whether I need them or not. I'm making it a point to choose a design that utilizes almost all the tools so you get to see them being done. And the idea is if it's a video, you watch the video and then do it yourself on your own system. You know, so stop the video, go do it over here on your computer. Of course, you might have 2 computers, but, you know, whatever. So looking to do all that, too, to make the transition easier.
So I'm loving the fact that you guys are going to do that because, again, I think that, you know, people need visuals and, you know, they need to be able to go back and see how, okay, so how did they arc that? How did they make that work on a latte mug?
Right.
You know, that's really, really important. Okay, so what do you think about the new printers?
Well, we're finally getting them. There's a lot of people pre-bought, and gosh, who would have predicted how the world has changed? You know, we were looking for printers to be coming in, and when was the scheduled delivery of printers? I mean, it was right in the very beginning of March or mid-March. What happened to our country in mid-March? You know,
right.
And that delayed shipments and everything else, and so we finally have, you know, gotten some shipments in and been trying to get the printers out to people who had already pre-purchased and whatnot. So it's gone a whole lot slower than it should have. Yeah, it's gone a lot slower than it should have, but it's been tough, you know, getting everything, you know, into our hands.
Have you been able to play with it and see the difference, or is there a difference?
I definitely think there is a difference. Because when we created these printers, we also created another ink specific for the printers. And so when we work with these printers, we sit down with, a lot of people know that we use Ricoh as our partner for the printers. So Ricoh actually manufactures the printers to our specifications. And so our engineers and Ricoh engineers sit down together and they work on all this stuff behind the scenes that you and I don't even understand what it is, right? So every time there's a new generation, as the technology improves, if we can improve, for example, the manipulation of ink droplets, because we're printing little teeny tiny droplets, we have more control on the quality and whatnot. So as the actual print hardware and firmware gets better, we can actually change the chemistry of the ink to make better use. So what we're getting is, and I've seen it printed side by side, that we definitely are getting better color, sharper images with the new printer because it's using the Sublimation UHD versus the old printer, which is Sublimation HD. Now, sometimes people are like, well, that stinks. So you mean my printer don't print so good? I said, nope, never said that. Your printer prints great. It's just the new one prints even greater. How does that sound? You know, marketing 101. And, but that, I mean, there's not a tremendous amount of like new toys and shiny, you know, bells and whistles and stuff on the new one. One that a lot of people are excited about is it does have the capability for wireless networking instead of using a cable. Okay. So, you know, you do have that, but I will say the print quality is better. You know, we're constantly trying to use less ink and get better imaging with less ink. I mean, that's always been a goal of ours. And every generation we have improved the throughput and the efficiency of these printers so that we are getting better imaging with a little less ink usage and whatnot. And then, like I said, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes of just improving how the ink flows through the system. For example, there's 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 some long metal bars if you ever look in there that help feed the paper through. And on the old printers, we had a metal bar where it was like two of them met with like a little tiny roller, but sometimes that caused paper jams, so we took that out. But you would never know it if we didn't tell you. Okay.
Right.
And the idea was to say, why are we getting paper jams? That's why. Okay, change it. And it's like, but you'll never notice it. The keyboard, not the keyboard, the control panel is bigger, easier to read, and it's backlit.
So I'm gonna do a live with David unboxing mine, and I'm so excited
tomorrow.
about it. Yeah, I'm so excited. So you should tune in. Alice says, "Don't tell me that. I don't want to buy any more printers." Laugh out loud.
What do you have right now?
She has the 800. Right, Alice?
As far as I'm concerned, you're fine with that 800. You run the 800 into the ground if you need to. Okay. Well, don't purposely do that, Well, what I'm getting at is the 800 has the same technology as the Creative Studio units, the new Go Expression, the Go Exchange. All that works with the SG800.
Right.
So, use your printer, enjoy your printer. It's just like computers. There's always going to be a better one that comes out, just sit around and wait, and then you're like me, you wait till you get a good deal, and now it's the old stuff, right? You're fine with that SG800. Now, you had a work.
So Pat says, I still have the old Sawgrass software. What should I do to set up the new SG1000?
Well, when you set up the SG1000, I mean, you're going to have to set up the new Sawgrass Print Manager, which replaced VPM. You don't have a choice. You're going to have to do that. So basically, what's going to happen is you're going to set up your 1000. You're going to go into your account and you're going to tell it that you're, setting up a new one. You're going to download the Sawgrass Print Manager, which replaces Virtuoso Print Manager, and that's really about it, to be honest. And then, of course, that links into Creative Studio. What we actually did in Creative Studio 4, if you're a Creative Studio user, not everybody is, and if you're not, that's okay. But if you're in the new Creative Studio 4, we actually integrated Print Manager into Creative Studio. So you can actually do all your setup for printing in Creative Studio instead of it going to a separate program to print. So you're actually like printing directly from Creative Studio. Now, if you're not using Creative Studio, you're using Photoshop, Silhouette, Corel, whatever, you can still import images directly into your Print Manager, and it runs standalone at that point. Or you can output from those programs through, we actually call them smart folders now, but they used to be called hot folders. So you still have all the versatility that you had before, but again, we've tried to improve the process, improve the technology, the through flow, and all that kind of stuff. But basically, just open up your SG1000. And in fact, we have something new. If you go to our website, we have something called Academy, and it's listed in the top bar of your website. And let's see, we have in there, there's a quick.
You don't have a lot.
Not yet. We're working on it hard. Sublimation Success. That's their newest one they've been working on. But we do have quick start videos for at least Creative Studio, Expression, and Exchange. And I believe that they are working on some for the printers right now. But the printer is very easy to set up. Really and truly.
Okay, so I'm getting questions.
Okay.
Okay, which is good. Okay, so Alice apparently has the 400 and the 800. So woohoo! I didn't realize that, Alice. I guess I just maybe forgot that. So Pat is saying I still have the old Sawgrass. Okay. Do I need to re-download? And then she says what time, and I'm not sure what she means by what time. Pat, what do you mean by what time? And then Barb says, why are people having problems printing from Silhouette Studio with the new Print Manager?
I don't have that answer. Silhouette Studio and the new Print Manager. I will look into that. That's a good question. I don't know. I'll check into it.
That's a really good question because
I got Silhouette Studio. I need to go check into that myself. But
we have a lot of Silhouette Studio people that that want to print from that. So that's real important.
Right.
And Pat, what did you mean by what time? I don't know what you meant by that. So if you could explain, that would be great. I'm excited to see. What do I need to do in terms of the software? Because I use Photoshop. So do I need to do something special to? I mean, I use Creative Studio as well, but I use Photoshop mostly to design.
Because I don't use Photoshop on a daily basis, in the past, there were a few settings that we would tell you to make in Photoshop when you were setting up your Virtuoso print manager. I honestly don't have that answer either. I'm not a Photoshop user. But if you go to our website, and I'm on a different computer, that's why I'm not looking at you, Cheryl. I'm not ignoring you, just so you know. That would be detrimental to my life. Because I just don't know where we would go with that. So, okay. So anyway, what we have is, by the way, for anybody who's just bought a new printer or you're wanting to update your software, if you go to our website, you will see in the white toolbar, download software. And if you go to download software and just follow that, you should be fine. Okay. So software download soft load gives you the latest version of Sawgrass Print Manager. It tells you, here's the user and install guides, and warranty, legacy printer software. So basically, you're going to put in SPM for Windows, and you're going to follow the steps. Now, I already have it installed, so I'm not going to click to do it again. But I know that, yes, we used to have to do a few extra steps for Photoshop. Not sure of that right this minute, because they kept trying to make it simpler and simpler. So that's a great question. I'll have to look in that too. Let's see. Okay, user and install guides, Dutch.
Yeah. Okay, so Pat is asking what time the unboxing of the SG-1000 is. It's going to be 4 p.m. tomorrow Eastern Standard Time, and I'm so excited about that. I can't wait to see it. To actually, see it face to face. Okay, so I've been using Photoshop, but I have the 400. I haven't had any problems. I don't have any problems now today printing to my 400 at all. Alice, what are you printing from? Because you got the 400 and the 800. What do you print from? Do you print directly from Photoshop or Corel? It's interesting though, because, and Connie says she has the Silhouette Studio. She prints from it and doesn't have any problems. But I think Connie, probably because you didn't upgrade yet. That's what I would think, because it's definitely, people are definitely having issues with it for sure. I mean, people were like crying in the group. They were literally like crying in the group. They were so frustrated.
Tell them to email me directly. I'll take their emails. I'm not tech support, but I'll be glad if somebody feels like you want to talk to a person, you're not reaching anybody, you're welcome to email me. I mean, I can't fix your problem, but I'll do my best to help get a quick fix to it. Let's put it that way. And my address, my email is the same as Cheryl's.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm putting out there. I'm JLAMB at sawgrassinc.com, man. I don't hide behind anything. If you want to reach for me, do it. If I don't respond, send me another email. Because sometimes I just don't get them.
And if he doesn't respond, send him another email.
Just don't ever tell me you're Cheryl. If I think you're Cheryl, I can ignore you for like weeks on end. But for anybody else,
cannot. No, I'm going to call you. I'm going to text you.
Right.
No. Okay, so Alice is Photoshop, but Alice, are you using VPM at all? So Connie says, I'm printing from SPM, not VPM. Oh, nice. And you don't have any issues. Oh, that's great, Connie. That's good to hear. Okay, so Evelyn says, I haven't upgraded anything and don't plan to. Updates seem to cause me so many problems. I understand. Right. A lot of people have had issues with that.
But here's what's going to happen. Okay, here's what's going to happen. Now, if you're just using let me rephrase that. If you're not using Creative Studio, okay, and you have VPM, Virtuoso Print Manager installed, you're
Right.
fine, because the reality is you can still use it because it hasn't been discontinued, because VPM is actually software on your computer. So no matter what we do on our end, it doesn't change what you have on your computer. Now, if you're using Creative Studio and VPM, because we're going to be switching to Creative Studio 4 only and ending Creative Studio 3, you will have to have the new Sawgrass Print Manager to do the SPM. But if you're like Cheryl and you're working with Photoshop, Corel, Silhouette, even some other things out there, and you have VPM and you're happy, VPM will still work for you. Okay, so you don't have to go to Sawgrass Print Manager unless you're going to stick with Creative Studio, number one, or you bought one of the two new printers, the SG 500, the SG 1000. Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense. You understand?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going. So I have to now print from the SPM with the 1000.
Yeah. Yep. With the 1000. Yep. Because right now the VPM won't recognize. I mean, the VPM was not created for the 1000. So you go to print, you need the SPM because that's designed specifically for the new level of printers. So you have to download that software and install it.
Okay, so okay, so Pat okay, so Stacy says I have not upgraded yet, but I do love the new Creative Studio. Woohoo! Well, and they're fixing some of the issues that have been an issue. They are on it, and again, I applaud them for
acknowledging
really
that there's issues.
Yeah, well, no, for taking the bull by the horn. Right. Yep. I mean, that's not easy because you pour yourself into something, and and yeah, it's not perfect, and then people are criticizing. It's like, oh my God, So and
but on the other side, Cheryl, I understand, and a lot of my coworkers understand that you're depending on us to provide you with a product that does what you need it to do. So if we didn't do that, then you might be suffering from our mistakes. And that's why we stood up and said, you know what? We have some issues. We're going to fix them. We have a timetable for fixing them. We actually have dates assigned to certain features and issues. So it's all coming up in June and July to fix the issues. Now, adding new features and functions is put on hold until we fix what we got. And then we'll look at some of the stuff that you're telling us is missing. Okay. So if people tell us it's missing an undo button, it's like, yeah, we know. But it's not broken because it doesn't exist, right? So we're going to
But it needs first, an undo button.
Right, it does. We're going to fix it broken first. Okay. And then we can add in those other things. So sure, I will share that with you. But I'm going to rewrite it a little bit because I don't like the language that was used. There's no 4-letter words. It doesn't read smoothly. And I'm just going to paraphrase it and condense it a little bit where I think it's a lot easier to read.
Okay, and I will post it in the group. So Pat says, could there be a folder in Cheryl's group with screenshots of what settings we should use in Silhouette Studio and Photoshop, etc.? That's a good question.
Yeah, and
so a screenshot, I like that. Yeah.
It used to be online. While we've been talking, I've been looking under the software section because we have a whole little thing that says software download. And there's a user and install guides, and I looked in there. It's only 129 pages, so I read most of that while we were talking. Okay, I didn't, but I did look at the table of contents, and I was trying to figure out, in there, and I didn't see anything specific to Photoshop, but that doesn't mean there isn't, because it only had to do a little bit. It was just a very small settings changes that you did with some of those third-party programs, with the older versions of the software. And I'm just not seeing that right this minute, but you got to understand, I'm also, scanning through it kind of fast, right? Design software requirements. And so page 69, let's see what happens on page 69.
Okay, so, and I'll be reading some of these comments. Alice says direct to printer, so which is what I do. I haven't upgraded Creative Studio, read others, Creative Studio woes. Glad I waited. Evelyn says, great, I do VPM. And Barb Kelly wants to know, is there a way to go back? I got to go back
Undo.
home.
Undo. Yeah, which we don't have. So,
no, she's not talking about undo. She's talking about
the old Creative Studio.
I don't know that she's talking about Barb. I mean, maybe you can explain, but I think instead of the upgrade, like when people upgraded and didn't mean to, you know, like from the VPM to SPM, is there a way to go back?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to ask tech support that question. I mean, currently VPM is not on our website for download. So you would have to reinstall VPM. Now, that's a question for tech support. You're going to have to ask tech support because they're going to have to give you the file. Now, you know, ultimately, as we move into something new like SPM, eventually VPM would be discontinued. I'm not saying it's being discontinued right now, but eventually there'll be some date where support for it gets discontinued and we try to push everybody into SPM as we feel like it's a better platform and we work out any of the additional bugs that you might have run into. So that's a question for tech support. You're just going to have to contact them and ask them if you can do that and say, hey, I want to go back to VPM, you know, and make sure, you know, they're going to ask you which printers you have and all that and make sure it works.
Okay, so Alice says, I applaud Sawgrass for owning it, and I agree. I mean, there's just, I think it's really important. My VPM disappeared from my printer selection when I upgraded Creative Studio, even though I was printing through Silhouette, only shows SPM.
Yes. So what happened is SPM is integrated into Creative Studio. So if you install Creative Studio, you're getting SPM automatically. Well, you don't really install Creative Studio. You set up Creative Studio because it's online, right? But when you're setting up Creative Studio, it's automatically installing SPM, not VPM, and it's overriding VPM and it's disappearing. So I understand where you're at because now you're saying, hey, I got SPM, but it's not working with Silhouette. How am I going to print from Silhouette? You know, can I go back to VPM just for Silhouette? To my knowledge, it cannot both operate on the same platform. It's possible. I don't know. Again, that's a good tech support question. But you cannot just go get VPM and reinstall it. Now, the problem is, okay, or the root of this issue is that SPM should be working for you and it's not. Okay, because if SPM is working for you the way that it should, then you should be okay. Now, I haven't gone in. I mean, I'm just looking at SPM right now on my screen. You know, one of the things that you can always export out of Silhouette as a JPEG or a PNG and save it somewhere and then open it as a local file. That can be done because we still have open local file function on here. The hot folders, I'm not sure, or that we call them smart folders now. Don't know if we created one of those specific for Silhouette or not, but it's a good question for tech support. I understand where you're coming from with that, so I would go back and ask them about just to try to explain exactly what you got. I put in the new Creative Studio. I lost VPM, but VPM works better on Silhouette for me. And the fact that we're constantly updating SPM, we already might have another fix in already, and I don't know it.
Okay, so Barb says she's going to just tell him that Jimmy Lamb said she can.
Oh, jeez. Why don't you email me first so I can tell them? Okay, then I feel better.
Okay, so Pat says, I know in the past Sawgrass used to remote into your computer. Do they still do that if you need help?
Yes.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, I don't understand what is VPM and SPM.
Well, VPM stands for Virtuoso Print Manager. And what it is it's a software processor that goes between whatever your graphics file is and the printer. and within it, it has color management profiles. It has settings so that you can set the print properly for the product. Because when we're working with sublimation, we have several things that affect the color as something goes through. Number one, the printer. Number two, the ink. Number three, the paper, believe it or not, can affect the color. Number four is the substrate. Those are four key things, plus things like speed of the printer and a few other little things, right? So we have this image that we created. Now, if you create an image, the image, let's say you did it in Photoshop. Photoshop doesn't know what sublimation is. It doesn't know what a sublimation printer is. So it's going to save it, with its settings and its colors. And if you just shoot it directly to the printer, it's a hit or miss as to whether you're going to get the right, print out, because of the variables of the printing process that change the color. Yes, you set the color in the file, but on the way out to the printing process, there's other factors, which I just named, that are affecting it. So we create print managers. One's Virtuoso Print Manager that looks at the file coming in and asks you, what are you putting it on? What speed are you running at? What printer ink you're using? And inside, there's the mathematical formulas that are shifting the colors to make sure that they work properly. And they're doing is they're compensating for all those other little factors. So when it prints out, it's the right thing. So that's what Virtuoso Print Manager is. The SPM is just a newer version of the VPM, and it stands for Sawgrass Print Manager. It's just the new generation. We changed the name slightly, but it appears most of the time just as Print Manager. But it's officially SPM, Sawgrass Print Manager.
Okay, that's good to know. So now I will be able to tell people. Okay, let's see. What about our design saved in VPM? Do we lose them with the new SPM? Good question, Pat.
Oh, wait a minute. You don't really save designs in VPM. What you have is, if
maybe she's talking about the old Creative Studio versus the new.
Now that's different. And going from the old Creative Studio to the new Creative Studio, there's actually a video out about how to transfer over the old files to the new Creative Studio. But go watch that carefully and do it before they take CS3 down. Okay. That video was actually made like last November, I think, about how to, carry over those files. VPM itself doesn't store any files, except if you're in VPM, Virtuoso Print Manager, and you're using the hot folder function, then you actually may have files in the hot folders and they won't disappear. But that's just how you set up processing for VPM. Other than that, VPM doesn't store any images in it.
Okay, so Connie says SPM is working for me. I just thought you.
Okay, we're done. Okay, we're done. That's a good way to end on that note. So.
And let's see. I just thought you said that Silhouette would use VPM. Well, it does.
What I was trying to do, it sounded like there was a problem from someone. Apologize, I don't remember which person. That when they went to SPM, it wasn't printing their Silhouette files properly, but they always printed properly in VPM. And that's where I was trying to kind of make a distinction. The reality is SPM should be printing your Silhouette as well as your VPM did. So if it's not, then that's an issue to talk to tech support about. Sometimes it's nothing more than a setting somewhere. Sometimes it's a little bit more. But you should be able to still print Silhouette through your SPM.
Okay, so another question. I've read complaints about the new Creative
You have to use the word complaints. I read what's the word? Comments. Okay, complaints. I get it.
I've read complaints about the new creative software that automatically comes with the SG printer. What is the difference? I haven't taken the plunge yet, but curious.
Well, they were even with the previous SG printer, the Creative Studio came for free with it. Okay, it's up to you whether you actually install a Creative Studio or not. And when you get your printer, you need to have a print manager So when you get your printer, if you go to the Sawgrass website and look for download software, it'll tell you how to download the software. You'll download software; it's free. You can download it, install it, and it pretty much self-installs. Okay, so that's it. Just comes along with it. Now, if you say I don't really want to use Creative Studio, you don't have to, because Creative Studio is a design software. That's what it is. It's for designing, putting images on products, right? And then it now has an integrated print manager to print everything out to your printer. Or you can bypass all of that and only use the print manager if you're creating in Photoshop, CorelDRAW, those types of programs. Okay, then that just becomes the little pathway over to the printer. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
It all makes sense
Yes.
to me, but the problem is I know it too well, right?
Yes, and just so you know that we get, um, we get special deals on equipment and printers and substrates, and so message
Stuff.
me and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I want to make a
we
comment. Let me make a quick comment. Just there's a little wild card in all of this. Okay,
oh,
it's called
wild
Condi.
card.
It's called Condi.
Okay.
Love Condi. Nothing wrong with Condi. So when David hears I said wild card, because David's probably listening in anyway. So the only thing I mean by wild card is traditionally at Condi has their own software color management drivers. So
Oh
traditionally at
yes,
Condi,
yes,
if
yes,
you
yes.
bought one of the Sawgrass printers, when you got ready to set it up, you call their tech support and they would say, would you like the Sawgrass system installed, which is Creative Studio and Virtuoso Print Manager, today Print Manager, or would you like to have the Condi system installed, which is our color profiles and our driver? Okay.
Right,
So
right.
a lot of times we'll be in the middle of one of these and people are saying, do I have Creative Studio? And I'm like, did you buy one of the SG printers? Yep. I said, who'd you buy it from? Condi. I said, well, no, you probably don't right now because Condi probably installed, you know, their software in there. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. Okay. I don't want that to be sounding like a negative. It's a choice. It's an option. Okay. One way or the other. And so if you did buy from Condi, sometimes you start hearing SPM, VPM, and all that, and you don't know what it is because that's not what they installed on your system. They installed their stuff in there, which I think has a
And
name. I
yeah,
know it, but
it's Spectra Fusion,
that's it.
and
That's it.
yeah, and I would say that it really is awesome. I mean, I've had
Right.
both, and I would tell you that the Spectra Fusion really has some great colors, and it is a preference, and I think a lot has to do with what like if you want to use Creative Studio, then you have to have the SPM. It's the
Absolutely.
only way to be able to have it. But again, the SPM or Creative Studio is a free. It's like you have a Cameo and you have the Silhouette Studio version. It's free software, and that's really it's to help you. And the cool thing about the new version of Creative Studio is that they have these awesome mock-ups that you can use, and honestly, it's a great software. So it's really a choice, and as Jimmy was saying, so I
Right.
think it's whatever your preference is. But
Right.
I will
And
just say this too, that the benefit. I mean, since we brought up Condi, one of the benefits of
we always have to
Condi.
bring up David, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the benefits. I mean, I've been doing this long enough, and I've dealt with all the the reputable companies out there that actually
Use some of
sell
the others.
sawgrass. And I have to tell you that when you're looking at buying a printer, Condi has some of the best tech support out there, and they really do take care of their customers. So, the blessing for me is, I will never forget, it was a Christmas Eve, and my printer, of course, I had last minute, stuff to print, and, it doesn't print. I'm freaking out. And so I call tech support. I call Condi, and they answer. It was Christmas Eve night.
Right.
It's like, wow. I don't think Sawgrass even had tech support back then.
We've always
So
had tech support. We've always had tech support. We've always had
not
tech
at
support.
night.
Maybe not on Christmas Eve. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, not on
you guys
Christmas Eve.
weren't doing you had regular business hours. Haha.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
Condi's in Central Time Zone, so they do work. It's
1
just
hour.
later. Yeah.
Yeah, they work until I think 9, but in the past they were doing it like 24/7.
Yeah.
So, but okay, so let's see.
Well, let me add one other thing about the Condi.
Okay.
Condi is the only Sawgrass dealer that has an option on your color management. Everybody else is just going to set it up with the Creative Studio and the SPM, But
Okay.
Condi is the only one, because a lot of times that question comes up, that actually has that option. That's their choice, and that's fine. That's but I just want everybody to be aware of that.
Plastics did one.
I don't think they do. If they do, that's new to me.
Yeah,
That
well,
wouldn't be a surprise, right?
it was back in the old days. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. Alice says, hasn't the deadline been extended for transferring files? Yes, it has.
Yeah. It's like the end of it's in July. I was trying to find that, and my system just didn't want to answer the question for me. So.
Okay. And so Connie says her printer is printing great to Silhouette or from
Right.
Silhouette. Okay, that's what I have. The Cotton Candy says that's what I have is the Condi installed in mine. Okay. And then Pat says, can you explain the Go Expression and Go Exchange?
Yes. So Go Expression are very simple web stores. I mean, that's what we built it to be that way. Get your, something online. We wanted it to be free, and you make no investment. There's no money up front. There's no monthly fees. There's no hosting fees, nothing. I'm going to be honest with you, you wouldn't spend a penny with a Go Expression store from Sawgrass until you actually sold something. Okay. So we'll cover that part in just a minute. So if you were to go right now to the Sawgrass website, sawgrassink.com, as soon as the Sawgrass website opens, you'll see over to one side where it says Go Expression. And if you click on Go Expression, it takes you to a page, and you can think of it sort of like an early Etsy site, being that there's not nearly as many people there producing. But what you'll see is when you go in, that there's a series of stores. And the best way to really kind of see what we've got so far is click on stores. And then you can see a listing for each current store, and one product is displayed there. If you click on the logo for the store, it will take you in and show you whatever products the person has put in there. Okay. So the way that you're put the products online is you have to do it through Creative Studio. Okay. You don't have to design them in Creative Studio. I mean, the artwork, but in Creative Studio, you're actually taking a product and you're putting an image together with the product, and you're saving it, and then you're uploading it into your Go Expression store. So when people go into your Go Expression store, then they have the ability to purchase whatever you have there. Now, there's a lot of different ways to use the store. I don't know why my store name changed, but anyway, that's just a demo store. You may be somebody who sells your own artwork. Okay, so you're selling masterpiece products, and people would buy it based on your artwork. Okay, there may be situations where you want to give personalization to opportunity to the customer. And so they click on a product and they see the product, and when they click on the product itself, it'll say add text, add images, where you can actually add more to it or actually change out the image. And that's kind of cool, because then you as a customer can actually personalize it. And then once you like it, you purchase it through a cart system. Okay. So Go Expression is the store. Now, some of the neat things with Go Expression is that, as I said, there's no charge for it, and you can actually have a Go Expression store without even having a printer at all. Because you may be a person who just doesn't want to sublimate. I mean, some people don't want to sublimate. They just want to sell stuff, right? So you're just making products, putting them in, making products, putting them in. Now, Go Exchange is a network of sublimation producers or fulfillers worldwide. And the concept here is if you're really going to be in business, why not be able to sell worldwide? So let's say that Cheryl creates one of those nifty difty things that she's got all over her, her space behind her there, and she puts it online, and she's in New Jersey unless she's moved, and somebody sees what she put and says, "Oh, I like that. I want to get 12 of those," and I live in Italy. All right. Cheryl, how in the heck are you going to sell them to that when they're in Italy? How much is that going to cost you to ship it there?
Way too much.
Way too much. So when someone purchases the product and they put in their shipping address, it immediately goes into Go Exchange, and that's a network. And the Go Exchange is automated. Go Exchange looks at, number one, the address of the person buying the product. Number two, they look at the product itself, because everybody that's a producer or fulfiller in the network has to list what printers they have, what heat presses they have, because if Cheryl's product was mugs, and for somebody in Italy, and it shot it over to Italy and went down the list of people in Italy, he wants to make sure that the Italy producers can do mugs, right? So what it's going to do is it's going to match that order with the closest producer to the purchase, the customer who's buying from Cheryl, and also has the ability to do it. And it works a little bit like Uber, because Uber does the same thing. You want to go from here to there, and then Uber looks for the car that's closest to you with the best ratings, and then they send it over to the car and say, do you want this ride or not? Well, it's the same thing in Italy. The job gets sent to, let's say it's my friend, and this is a real person, real company, Piero LaCuca, and he owns, his T-shirts and more. Great name for an Italian company, right? Piero is a great guy. Piero actually is in our setting up as we speak into our network. So you know what? Piero sees this order come to him because he's qualified. And Piero says, "Oh, let's see. I got this nice order from Cheryl. I love Cheryl. Cheryl's so cool." And it's like, either I want to do this order because it's a good order for me to do. I have the right equipment. I got the good staff. That's how he talks, man. I'm telling you. And or he could say,
you did good.
I'm going to pass on Cheryl's order today. Okay, I got too many other things are going on, so I'm going to pass on the order, and it goes to the next person who's qualified in line. But so this is all happening automatically in the background. Now you're still thinking, oh my gosh, this is complex. How do we charge sales tax in Italy? No problem. Okay, our system is tied into a company that understands what sales tax is on pretty much every square inch on the face of the earth. Okay, so they see the address, and it goes into this other company that looks at it and says, oh, look, there's a local sales tax, there's a value-added tax because it's in Europe, and and it figures out the sales tax and adds it into the shopping cart, right? Then there's the question of, okay, so Piero is going to do the order, and he's going to send it over to Milan. He's not in Milan.
I thought he wasn't going to do it because he was too busy.
He changed his mind. Okay, he's going to do it, okay, because he's listening in to Jimmy. So now Piero wants to do the order. So Piero has to ship it to the customer, right? Well, how much is the shipping charges going to be? Well, first of all, how is he going to ship it? So our system is tied into yet another system that knows where all the shipping companies are all over the world. So it'll actually figure out what company to ship it, so it can get right down the spot. You're not waiting 24 hours. You're waiting a couple of minutes at the most. It's telling you what the cost is for the shipping too. No, so the customer. So the customer, okay, is buying the product basically through Cheryl and being charged the sales tax, being charged the shipping. And then when she or he, confirms the order, Piero does the order. It gets delivered to, the family members that are there in Italy. So it's a pretty cool system. Now, because the orders can go into Go Exchange, we're getting a lot of people who are just doing nothing but creating products to sell. They don't want to do any fulfillment whatsoever. They just want everything to go through the exchange.
I understand that.
Then we have people who hate to sell, right? And they like the idea of the Go Exchange bringing orders to them, when it's a qualified order for who they are. Now, how do you make money on this? How much does this cost you? As I said, it costs you nothing, right? Now, when it actually gets sold, let's say Cheryl sells her product, and I don't have all my screens to put in front of you, sorry. It's done through what we call a commission process, because it's like, how do you figure out pricing? How do you figure out your margins? You don't do that. The system has already done it. The Go Expression system is actually currently limited to 31 different products. I know that sounds limiting, but we had to make sure that the products that are available in any store can be found anywhere in the world. We got to make sure that these products are available in Italy or Malaysia or Australia, okay? Or else people are going to be ordering through a store and nobody in that country can fulfill it. So right now there is a limited number of things, but the popular things, we know what they are. So we already know what they cost. We know what they cost to produce. And we set a base, think of it as like an MSRP, but you can't make it any lower. So let's say a coffee mug is $9.98.
That's
somewhere
awesome.
in that range.
That's awesome.
Somewhere around $9.98. You, as the seller, get 25%. And a lot of times people, what? 25%? It's like, listen, you're getting 25% of that. Well, let's say it's $10. So it's easy math, okay? You're going to get 25% of that, $2.50. All you did was post it on your site. You did nothing else. Everything else is taken care of, including the credit card charges. They're all taken care of too. You're going to get deposited into your member account $2.50 for that mug, right? But if I sold, a dozen mugs, a whole lot more money. Now, suppose you think your mug is worth more than $10. Fine. You can add on more margin. So you can sell the mug for $20 if you want. And so that's going to increase your commission of what you're going to get. Now, what about the guy doing the producing? The person doing the producing gets a set 45% commission out of that retail price of $10. So they're getting $4.50. Now they have to actually buy the mug and they got to do the printing, they got all that other stuff, but we kind of figured out what it is. So they're getting a guaranteed payment. See, on each end, you're getting a guaranteed payment, period. Okay. It's going to appear in your account. Now, if you're doing your math and you're following along, you're probably starting to think, wait a minute, if I'm getting 25% and the fulfiller's getting 45%, who's getting all the rest of the money? Well, Jimmy is, of course. No, Jimmy's not getting any of it. And it's not really, coming into Sawgrass either. What it's going towards, that other percentage is going towards a couple of things. Number one, it's paying for credit card fees. So you never have to worry about credit card fees, okay? Number two is paying for those third-party companies that calculate sales tax, that calculate shipping. None of that stuff's free, okay? So there's a whole lot of administrative that's being taken care of with those other percentages. But at the end of the day, you didn't ever put any money into the system. The system just gives money to you. Well, gives money to you. We don't really give anybody anything, right? But that's how it works. Now, Go Expression right now, anybody can go in and set up a store in the next 5 minutes, and it won't take you very long. If you just go to the Sawgrass website, it will say join the Sawgrass network. So if you already have an account, you'll be able to log in. If you don't, you won't. And you just fill it out. And it costs you any money. Well, I'll tell you what, it costs you $1. The reason it costs you $1 is they're going to run your credit card. Now, why are they going to run your credit card? They're not going to be charging your credit card for all these orders and stuff. There is one situation where you would have to have a credit card on file that money would be charged to it, but you would actually make a sale before anything went to the credit card. So basically it works like this. I walk up to Cheryl face to face and say, hey, Cheryl, I got these great mugs. You want to buy them? She says, yeah, Jimmy, I want to buy them. He says, and Jimmy says, okay, this costs X dollars. And she's going to pay me up front for the whole order, right? So I've been paid. We got to make sure that the fulfiller gets paid, okay? So what happens now is when I send them to Go Exchange for somebody else to fulfill, because I don't do that anymore. I just want to go out and make sales. How does that person get paid? Well, your credit card gets charged to pay that fulfiller their 45%. That's the only time you're actually billed. But you already collected in advance, so you have all the rest of the money. You know what I mean? So, that's the only thing. And then we charge you $1 when you're setting it up, so they just check your credit card. That's all. Other than that, you're not charged money. So
okay. So let's talk about if because there's some questions here.
Oh, there's always lots of questions, and I got the answers.
Okay, so so I don't have any what you're talking about. Okay, so will I get better colors if I stop using Condi's system? Okay, that's a separate question then, because we're kind of on the Go Exchange. So that this one is, how are clients finding Go Exchange? That's a good question.
Clients don't find Go Exchange. Sublimators find Go Exchange because it's a network that you join as a member. Okay. So Go Exchange is simply a fulfillment network that allows you as a sublimator to find people to fulfill orders for you, to do orders perhaps you cannot do. Like Cheryl used to have that little printer. Okay. And so she wants to do pillowcases. She can't do it. She can go to Go Exchange and find somebody to do it, even if it's just for her in her local hometown. So Go Exchange is simply a network of people. And you go to the Sawgrass website, you join the network, you sign up for that.
I think she's asking, how do customers
how do they find the store?
Right.
Okay. When you have a store, you have your own independent URL. Every product that you create has a URL for it too. So the idea is that when you go in and start setting up your store, and trust me, you can set up a store in just a couple of minutes, okay? When you're setting up your store and you're creating your products, you can now take those URLs and you can start sharing those URLs via the internet with your customers. You can put them in social media. We actually have links between Facebook and Twitter and your store. So you're able to start producing things and just popping them out there in front of people. So yes, it is a store. You're going to have to get people there. But the reality is you do have your own individual URLs for your products so that you can lead people to your stuff instead of somebody else's stuff.
Okay, but how is somebody in Italy going to find me in New Jersey? But I'm not really in New Jersey. But how would somebody find me in New York?
You can go into any, I mean, if you just go to the landing site for Go Expression, you can see every single store that's there. So if you go there and click on stores, you'll see every store that's there. And then you'll say, oh, look at this cool design. I want to learn more. So you click on the cool design, which opens that particular store, and you can see all their products.
Very good.
That's how people are going to find it. Now, I was thinking about outbound marketing where you want to promote your store. You want to go out and bring people in, then you're using your URLs to get people to lead them back to your store. But yeah, anytime they go straight into this, and a lot of this is over time, it will grow. Like when Etsy came out, did people know who it was? No. Now look at Etsy today. Etsy's huge, and it's a household word. But it took a long time before it became a household word. So it's the same thing here. It's going to take some time until it gets to that point. We'll be pushing it, but other people are going to be pushing it too. And over time, you're going to start seeing more and more traffic. Well, keep in mind, this has only been released for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. And
in fact, the shopping cart doesn't work yet. Well, we've told everybody that. That's not that's not the same as Creative Studio. The shopping cart release is June the 9th. So that's next week. But we purposely went ahead and got the stores online so people could start building their own store prior to having the shopping cart ready to go.
Okay, so I'm going to press something while you're talking.
Figures. I'm done talking.
Okay, so then, and you can share with Etsy and others?
If you have an Etsy store, you can link your Go Expression store to your Etsy store. I can't give you any more details because we haven't released that yet. That's going to release also within the next couple of weeks. And I haven't actually had a chance to do it, so I haven't seen how it's done. Once we're finished with Etsy, we're also going to have create linking to Shopify and to Amazon. And I think that the way it's going to work is you're actually going to create products, put them to Go Expression, and then be able to put those same ones on an existing Etsy store if you have one, so that you're actually creating, new products, putting them out there, and then linking people back through your Go Expression site. By the way, you have to have Creative Studio because Creative Studio is how you put together the products to put them in Go Expression, but you don't have to use Creative Studio as a graphics program. You still want to create in Photoshop, fine. Then you just upload it to Creative Studio. Creative Studio is simply the conduit. And trust me, when you create it in Creative Studio, it's a one-button click to put it in your store.
I like that. I like that. I think
it's
that's really good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to cotton candy's question. So, will I get better colors if I stop using Condi Systems colors?
I'm not at liberty to answer that because under duress of anyway, it's it's not a debate. We don't debate back and forth. If you have the Condi system and you like the Condi system, great. Okay. If you have the Sawgrass system, you like the Sawgrass system, great. If you want to switch from one to the other, great. And different people have different reasons for wanting to switch. All right. Um, I don't want to comment on the color thing because I haven't sat down and printed directly out of with the Condi versus the Sawgrass. So I don't feel that I'm qualified to answer the question. Okay. It just comes down to you. Now, if you want to switch from Condi to Sawgrass, you will need to work with our tech support to do it. Okay. So I will say that much. Okay. Simply Irresistible. Are you doing this again? We've already went through this one.
Is this adorable or what?
I know,
I'm just saying, I am so in love with it. I'm going to be rocking the house with this stuff.
Well, you remember the song Simply Irresistible, and you remember the video that went with it.
I don't. I don't. Obviously,
really?
I'm too young to remember it. So.
Right. I look it up. No, there's nothing like wrong. I mean, it's not. I'm just saying it was like four girls in black dresses kind of dancing together, but they all look like they were from the dead or something. I don't know. Not anyway. You'd have to see it. It's actually a very boring video, but it was popular in its day. We'll leave it at that.
So what was its day?
Early. I say early YouTube. Early MTV.
See, I was never into MTV, so okay. So what? Bad. So I know. So what exactly does that mean? So that was like a messed up.
Oh, no, it's just a song. Just go look it up sometime, just for fun. Because you keep holding Simply Irresistible up. Now I got a darn earworm of the song. Okay, and I can't get it out of my head. It's your fault.
Okay. All right. So here we go. So some more questions. Okay, but then who will be paying the Etsy fees if you bought with Go Expression?
I don't have the answer to that one. That's a great question. I've heard that one before. I don't have the answer yet because that one's in development, so it hasn't been shared with me. I'm sorry. Okay. But I understand exactly what you're asking.
Yeah, I totally am with you too. Okay, yep. So let's see. Barb says, so can I put any product in Go Expression?
No. There's 31 products right now. When you go into Creative Studio, there is a folder in Creative Studio that has all the different substrates. Well, there's multiple folders actually. But when you first go into Creative Studio on the left side, this is Creative Studio 4, you will see one folder there that says Go, G-O, letters Go. That folder has all the Go certified products that you can put in Go Expression. And we're also working with dealers who will also have like Go certified on those same types of products. So when you're ordering, it's one that's actually from the Go system. We will add more, but we have to make sure that those same products are available in all the different countries where Go Expression, is being supported.
Which totally makes sense.
Yeah, you have to do that. So I don't like being limited, okay? But I realize at the end of the day that I'm probably not going to do everything through Go Expression anyway. Go Expression becomes one of several marketing methodologies to generate business, but there are certain jobs I'm going to do different ways, okay? There are certain things, Condi's got like this huge assortment of substrates, right? So there's a lot of things that Condi carries. There are more than 31 pieces, right? That I want to sell direct to somebody. And I'm just going to go and order it from Condi and sell it direct. Sorry, you couldn't go through Go Expression because it just didn't work, So that's part of it. It's another tool for you to generate business. That's what it is. It's another tool. It may not be the only tool, but it's a tool.
Okay, so we have some more questions. Okay, Alice says, as long as commercial rights have been purchased, can they be used to create designs to upload into Go system?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you're actually uploading them into Creative Studio, then you're accessing them in Creative Studio and then putting them online. Okay, so you're
Right.
just going to do an upload in Creative Studio with whatever your designs are, and then you're going to pull them out and put them on products that you create virtual samples to put online in your store.
I like it.
Now, I'm going to answer a question that probably hasn't been asked yet, but will be asked.
Okay.
Suppose you're selling your own original designs and you're worried about the copyright because, hey, I'm selling this design, but it's going to go to somebody in Italy or wherever on Go Exchange to print out and deliver the final product. How do I make sure that they're not stealing my copyrighted design? Well, this is very interesting how this system works. When you create your product in Creative Studio, you're setting up, because the fact that the print manager and all that's tied into it as well, but you're setting all the parameters for this final product, the size, what it's going on, everything, and it locks it into what's called a print file. A print file is a proprietary file that you cannot open and extract anything out of. So what happens now is our friend in Italy takes the order and it's a dozen mugs, and he doesn't get files that he has to adjust. He gets print ready files. So when he takes the order, he's going to hit the print button and it's going to print out a limited number of prints ready to sublimate of that job. He can't open any of them and pull out that really cool piece of art, okay, as it's locked in place. Now, he only gets a certain number of prints. I don't know the answer to that. If it's 12 mugs, does he get 14 prints or 16 prints? I don't know, right? But, you know, he can only get a certain number, and that's it. He can't do anything else with it. So your copyrighted designs are protected. You know, he cannot take those designs from you.
Okay, so I have a question. Okay, so Alice has another one. Okay, must our designs be our own, no third-party elements?
No, they can be third party as long as you have the rights to reproduce them. You can get them from anywhere. And if you want to go to Great Dane Designs and, you know, download some, purchase and download and use them as per the license agreement, yeah, you're welcome to do that all day long.
Okay, that's cool. Because, you know, she's kind of getting into copyright stuff and
Good.
how is that protected. But what about, okay, so what happens in the event that my guy in Italy messed up my mug? And
there is a resolution department that's their job, is to resolve anything. He messed it up, something got broken in shipping, the customer thinks the quality is poor, anything that's wrong, there is, and it's not online yet, but as soon as we go live with the shopping cart and everything, that should be there. But there is a way to resolve that. And we're also working on those videos in the Academy as fast as we can go so that you have everything at your fingertips. But yes, we will step in and figure out the resolution of what has happened and take care of it. Also, keep in mind that will be a rating system on producers so that, you know, if you're not a 5-star, you know, you're going to get less and less jobs sent to you. So, you know, there is going to be always a focus on rooting out people that haven't done a good job.
And that's important. That's really important, actually, because, you know, I don't want to be sending my stuff to somebody who, you know, I would be cringing at their stuff and whatever. So that's good. That's really good. Okay, let's see if we have any more questions because it's almost 6 o'clock.
I know, it's way past 5.
I know. Yeah. Sorry. You know,
but it is 5 o'clock somewhere.
Okay, got it. Thank you, she says. I'm confused. I have to create. Okay, so here we go. I'm confused. I have to create designs in Creative Studio, or can I create it in Illustrator then upload it to Creative Studio?
Think of Creative Studio as a tool to apply an image and text if you need to a substrate. Okay. So in my one hand, I have a blank mug. And in my other hand, I have the artwork I want to go on an actual mug. It's like when my hand's blinking. Anyway, and Creative Studio is going to let me put that image on the mug to create a virtual sample of the product that I want to sell. So the idea in Creative Studio is that the images of the substrates look real, so that when the customer looks at it online, they're seeing what it would look like as a finished product. So we only have to use Creative Studio to create the virtual samples. The artwork itself can be created anywhere. Okay, you bring in a Creative Studio, it can be as fast as you call up a coaster, put job on there. It has the bleeds and everything built in. It also sets up the print file, and gives you what you need to be able to sublimate. So it's creating a print file for sublimation, and it's creating a virtual sample to put in the store. Okay, that's all you got to have. That's the only thing you have to use it for. It also is the back door to your store. So when you want to start deleting stuff out of your store that you don't like, you go into Creative Studio and step into your store, and then you can delete stuff out and whatever. So. And you also save all the products that you put in there. So if you want to edit them and change them later, you save them in folders in Creative Studio, so that every product you've ever created, you can save in a folder in Creative Studio and go back and re-edit it anytime you want.
Okay, so Al says, okay, got it, thank you. And Evelyn says, I've learned some great info. I appreciate y'all taking the time to share this. Oh. Yes. Well, this is really important that that we get it communicated properly to people so they do understand. It's a powerful tool. It's as Jimmy actually referred to it, it's an Etsy for free. Yes, it's in its infancy, but how many times have you wished that you were on the ground floor of something? Well, this is the ground floor. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity, and who knows, you might be the 5-star seller, that you're the example for everybody else that they're like, oh my God, they sell more than anybody does. So I think it's a no-lose proposition for sure.
Well, it is, because you really have no investment. That's why I say, what do you have to lose? You're not going to invest any more than $1 to get started, period. That's it. Anytime you want to quit, you quit. That's it. I mean, nothing is, you make money when you sell. You don't have to pay any bills for the average sale. I mean, if you just sell at your store, you're not buying products. You're not paying people to produce them for you. I mean, as far as employees, right? Somebody else is doing all the work. Simple as that. So it's
Which is really nice.
Can't go wrong. Try it and see. But the store is only as good as you getting people there. Always remember that. A store is a place to do business. You still got to go out there and bring people back to your store. So I do remind people of that. Just having a store today, right this minute. There's even Etsy. How many stores on Etsy?
Right.
Are you going to look at every single store? No.
Well, and the truth is that, people, I mean, it's part of one of the things that I tell people is that, I think that there is a validity in having an Etsy store from the standpoint that there's a lot of traffic. Doesn't mean you're going to get it. But if you start a website, you got to drive traffic there. It's not like it's going to just automatically happen. You got to drive the traffic. It's not easy. That's the truth. It's not easy.
And there's a lot of cool things. Cheryl, let me just give you one example that would be really cool to do. Okay. And then we'll wrap it up. Let's say that you want to do a fundraising program for, the PTA, I guess. Okay. And one of my favorite fundraisers is where kids draw stuff, and then it's like sublimated onto stuff that the parents buy. Okay. And the PTA makes money, you make money. We call it kids artwork, right? And so let's say that you go and you set up a store for yourself for, maybe you have multiple schools, maybe it's one school. Let's just say we set up for XYZ elementary school. All right. Now we decide what the products are going to be. Maybe it's going to be, a mouse pad, maybe it's a mug or something else, right? and it's all about little Johnny's artwork, okay, or little Susie's artwork. So you create a base graphic program with a drop-in for their artwork, okay? And you're good at this kind of stuff. So maybe you have some kind of really cool graphic that looks a little kidsy, you know, with crayons and whatever, but there's a place to insert the kid's artwork, all right?
Right.
And also to put the kid's name and the date or whatever you want to do that, okay? So you create that product, you put it in your Go Expression store, and when you're creating it, and you can see how to do this in our videos, you make it where the parent will be able to change the image to put Johnny's image into that little placeholder, right, that he created. So now you have it in your store, and all you got to do is go to the PTA and say, all right, you see this URL right here? Here's the URL for my store that's set up with the products we agreed upon, and you give it to every parent in the school. And in their spare time, they just go to that URL, they go pick out the product they want, they upload their kids, you know, image that they want, you know, to use, and then they put it in the shopping cart, and it goes through the whole Go Exchange system, and that's going to pick my local, okay, and then it gets, you know, sent and delivered to the parents. Now, first of all, you're saying, do you want to split your 25% commission with the PTA? Maybe not. So you went ahead and marked it up some so that you're getting extra money, so that you know you got to split with the PTA, right? The little commission on there. How do you keep track of the orders? I mean, you're actually on the back end of your program, of your store, of your Go Expression store. You go into the admin side, here's a list of everything that you've sold, you know, and you're able to tell. And if you just have one store site, because you can have multiple store sites, if you just have one store site for one school, you know that everything that goes through that is where you got to split with a PTA, whatever that split is. So you automatically know. And here's the cool thing is they're paying in, and the whole system's processing it and dumping your percentage into your account, okay? And then it's up to you to say, oh, well, I'm split 50-50 with a PTA, so, you know, on this date, I'm going to go give them half of what's come in. You don't have to worry about checks, you know, bad credit cards, or anything. And you know what else happened is you led all these people to your website. You know what I mean? This is school sent out to 600 parents the URL for your website that's got the fundraising pieces on there, and just brought 600 people into your website to do the fundraising for the little Johnny's artwork. You see what I'm talking about? The beauty of how you can make the thing work. Now they know they can go there to get other stuff, because you just conveniently have some other stuff there, right? So they can go back and, you know, buy Christmas gifts and everything else. So it becomes, that's just one of the things that instantly went into my head when I saw this. You know, I said, I don't have to have any forms. I don't have to have any paperwork. I don't have to knock on any doors. You know, give an agreement to the PTA of what their cut is. Give them a URL to send everybody there. Well, you know, let the PTA see the artwork and everything, right? But you know what I'm saying? Boom.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it really is a no-brainer.
There's one other thing you can do. I can't demo it here. Gotta tell you this too, real quick. On the products that you have on your site, and if you give your customer the ability to change the image, okay, that's your choice in the admin, right? They can upload it from their computer. They can upload images from Facebook and most of the major social media platforms directly to whatever that product is on their site. They can change it to their image. But there's also a QR code, and there's a QR code option. And so if you take, and I'd love to demo it for you, except that we're not on that screen, right? You take your cell phone and you say, as a customer, end user, I want to upload a selfie I just took, right? You know, with me and my mom for her birthday, all right? So I'm looking at this great coffee mug design, or maybe it's Happy Mother's Day. I said, wouldn't it be great for me and her to be on that mug, okay? So we do the selfie, right? Then we go up here to change the image. We say change image, gives us the options, and you see the QR code. You take your phone, you go to your QR code reader, punch it in, you know, and it sees the QR code, and what it does is it opens a file that says upload to website. And you're like, okay, so you click on upload to website, and then it's saying, do you have an image or do you want to take a picture? So maybe if you haven't taken the picture yet, now you take the selfie, and then you say done, and it uploads it immediately up onto that mug. So the picture they just took boom, got loaded onto that mug.
Wow.
How
Wow.
do they
That's
help value?
awesome.
Yeah, look at the value of that. Instantaneous
Wow.
perceived value goes up. So you can put higher markups. There's some
That's
cool stuff in this stuff.
awesome. Who knew?
So
I did not know that.
then you didn't
I
pay
did
attention
not.
to our webinar. But anyway.
I did not know that. I did
Okay.
not. I
Okay.
did not. I
So
probably didn't watch
we're
the
trying
webinar.
hard to do webinars and Facebook Lives where we can do demos and put videos together with all this stuff.
But
And go to the
honestly,
Program
Jimmy,
Academy,
that's why
upload
this
videos.
is so beneficial
I
because
know,
I don't
I know.
have time to watch everybody's
I
webinar.
understand.
But when you come on here, things happen.
Okay. Yeah. Things get broken, the world ends, whatever. So
What? Nothing got broken.
no, not this time. All right. I need to run. It is 6 o'clock.
Yeah. I know.
Time, and
I know. I turned into a pumpkin at 6, so I don't know what happened.
that's scary. Yeah. Okay. So, all right, then we'll wrap it up there. And Cheryl, thanks for inviting me in, and we'll get back to doing this once a month. So not right this minute, but you email me. We'll set up a July date.
Okay, awesome, Jimmy. Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much. This was great. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Talk to you soon. Talk to you soon. All right, bye.